So hi, welcome to Grown's podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
Lauren Presley.
Ask some questions, say about upcoming EP, Hanging in the Balance. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
Thank you. Good. I'm just excited to have it out. And because I've kind of done like a waterfall release on it, two songs on the EP are already out, and people just really seem to like resonate a lot with them, like more so than my older music. So that's been really cool.
That's awesome.
Hell
The
yeah.
EP fucking rips. It's so
Yes.
sick.
It's really
Thank
good.
you.
Mhm.
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Hell
Of
yeah.
course. So, is there any meaning behind the EP title or cover art?
Yeah, the EP title, Hanging in the Balance, like it's kind of a phrase that means like you're kind of like stuck in this weird like limbo.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like a lot of uncertainty, I guess, which is what most of the songs on the EP are about. So that was kind of the thought behind that. And then the cover art, I don't know. I just wanted it to feel like you're kind of like drowning in uncertainty, kind of,
Mhm.
and kind of like trying to claw your way out. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like what I had in my head for that.
I think it kind of, like, looking at the cover art, it kind of perfectly encapsulates the EP title. I was like, it was
Mhm.
pretty on the nose, which I
Mhm.
appreciate.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the writing process for the EP?
Yeah, so People Leave we wrote first. That was like kind of the song that like started the whole thing for me. Um, I don't know, I was on my way to a session one day, and a lot of my previous songs are like, I don't know, kind of fun and like sassy and whatever, and I haven't really talked about a lot of like deep, shit
Mhm.
for myself in my music. And so I just like had this idea of like one thing that I've really struggled with is like abandonment issues and just people like in and out of my life, my entire life. And I've just never written about that. And so I kind of like challenged myself to write something real today, like just some real shit, and just like see what happens and just be as vulnerable as possible. And then that's the day we wrote People Leave. And then I realized kind of how like freeing that was to kind of get that all out of my system, I guess. And then I was like, oh, like this is really cool, and this feels good to kind of like release all of this in my songs. And so that kind of started like a snowball effect of like all these sessions where it was just me like pouring my entire heart out with
Yeah.
my co-writers, which is a little scary, but I think in the end, like I was so happy that I did, and it just came together exactly how I wanted it to. So yeah, I'm really happy I did.
That's good.
That's
Are
wonderful.
you
Yeah.
feeling like any sort of anxiety or nervousness with the EP coming out, considering it's the first time you've really been like vulnerable and real in your songs, like you said, or are you feeling excited and confident? Like, curious just what the feelings are a couple weeks out from the release.
Mhm.
Yeah, kind of both, honestly. Like it is scary because I've never talked about this stuff before, and I'm like not naturally a person that like shares, stuff like super openly. So even just like writing these songs in the writing room with like, three other people sometimes was like a little bit of a challenge, so to think that like, the entire world potentially is going to be hearing it, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
But I think it's really helped, like especially on TikTok, it has seemed to do well, and I've just got so many messages of people being like, "This helped me so much." Like I've had a couple messages like people were going to, you know, commit suicide, and my music like made them decide not to and made them
Mhm.
feel not so alone. And so that was the thing that was really like, okay, like that hit me really hard, and I was like, I am glad that I did this. I feel like I started writing this project for me, and now I feel like it's just really helpful for like other people too. So that makes me feel good and like not scared about it, because I'm like, this feels right.
Well,
Yeah,
that's good
sure.
to hear. I'm glad that people are responding to it, because, like, obviously, people can tell when the art is real and authentic, and that's obviously why people are resonating with it. You're being very upfront and honest that it is
Yeah.
super real and super authentic.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm. Damn straight. So what song off the EP took the longest to write, and then which one is your personal favorite?
Paralyzed took the longest to write. I think that was the only one that required two different writing sessions. The others like seemed to come together pretty quick. I think I'm trying to remember why. I think we had to write a verse two. We didn't have a verse two, and then there was like some melody tweaks that I wanted to make, but it just didn't feel like it was quite right yet. But I really believed in the idea and the concept and like some of the parts that we already had. I felt like were really strong, so I was like, I want to get this right. So yeah, it took like two pretty long sessions, but I'm happy I invested the time because I love how it turned out. Um, I think my personal favorite would probably be People Leave still,
Hmm.
Yeah.
which was the first one that I put out. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's did the best like numbers wise too, and is like I mean they're all super real to me, but that one, the concept is probably like the closest to my heart, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my favorite.
Hell yeah.
Good pick.
So for this question, I want you to pick your favorite lyric off the EP and tell us the meaning behind it.
I think there's a part in the prelude actually that's called Hanging in the Balance, and there's a line kind of towards the end that is like is it all in vain? And that's like kind of how I have felt a lot. Honestly, like just being an independent artist
Mhm.
and like
Mm,
working a job and then doing music, it's like you're working like two full-time jobs and
yeah.
like killing yourself half the time just to like, pay rent and like produce music and like all this stuff and financially it's like a lot. And I don't know, so I just had that thought a lot, kind of like deep down, like is this all for nothing? Like, like am I like putting myself through all of this for nothing? And I, have kind of tried to like come to terms with that and not think that way and just believe in myself and like own it and like, but yeah, I think that that's a pretty powerful line to me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Good pick.
Now you bring up that struggle, and then you also had mentioned TikTok. Do you struggle at all with like obviously you're working a job, you're doing the music, but then within the music, like being a content creator and working on the music winds up meaning you're doing two separate jobs within the one job. So do you struggle like with that balance at all, or have you got it kind of figured out?
I did for a long time. I feel like I have gotten to the point where I feel like I have pretty much gotten it figured out. It was probably like a year ago that I think I was just like doing too much and it kind of started to wear on me and on my mental health and stuff and I was like I've got to like take a step back and kind of figure out how to do these things but also like take care of myself. And so I think like over the past year I have gotten much better at that.
Good. Hell yeah.
It's good to hear. Hell yeah. And would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this EP?
Yeah. Yeah, I think like, part of like being an artist, there's just a lot of unknowns, I guess, which is, which that inspired this EP a lot. I think, I don't know, I kind of felt like my career was like more like at a standstill, which just made me kind of question things and question myself, I guess. And that is kind of what made me be like, okay, I just need to like, I need to get this shit out of my system and like put
Yeah.
it in these songs and hopefully people will hear that it's real and it's scary because I've never done anything like this before. But yeah, it's in the end I'm really glad I did, but it was scary and I think all of that kind of put me in like a little bit of a depression for a while and then honestly like writing this EP kind of like brought me out of that. So
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to CP for the first time? Should you do it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is workout EP, party EP? What do you personally recommend?
ooh, maybe like in the car would be a good one. Like, I
Uh-huh.
don't know, I'm like visualizing like rainy day,
Ooh,
like
okay, okay.
parked
Okay.
in a parking lot, like having a good cry. Uh,
Okay. I
like
see it.
in your bedroom, maybe like just laying down with headphones on. Yeah, that would be a good one too.
Okay.
Hell yeah. Damn straight. And this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this EP for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Ooh, honest,
Mhm.
vulnerable, um, and powerful.
Ooh, hell yeah. Good
Those are
pick.
good.
Good
Uh,
picks.
And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the EP?
I think I kind of just want people to like hear and see that it's real, that it comes from a super real place within me, and maybe help them realize like that they're not alone in their struggles, and that, a lot of people struggle with the same things, and
Mhm.
yeah, maybe that'll be healing for them too.
Yeah, damn straight.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the EP, positive or negative?
Um, I think just one thing, like I was just in a weird, like not good headspace at the time. So like
Mm.
that was kind of hard. I felt like I had so much to say, but at the same time, like kind of had writer's block sometimes. And
Yeah.
it's like, how do I get these things out, but like in the best way possible that makes sense and that is still stylistically and lyrically like me. And I think I stressed a lot about like making sure that the whole EP, like all the songs, the cover art, everything, the visuals was like one cohesive thing.
Mm.
Um, because my older stuff is like a little bit different. I mean, it's still like dark pop and whatever, but it's just a lot like lighter, like lyrically and stuff. So I just wanted to like still be close enough to that, but this is like a new era for me, but it's still me. I just didn't want it to feel like a complete, 180 from like my older stuff. And I don't know. I didn't want to sound, or I didn't want people to take it as like I didn't know my sound or like know who I was. Like that's for some reason something that I like stress about a lot.
Mhm.
Um,
Aw.
so that was kind of, yeah, that was challenging. I just had to make sure that they all kind of related and were at least like in the same vein, but still like somewhat different, I guess.
Gotcha, that makes sense. So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Ooh, this is really bad. This is really terrible for me. But for some reason, my favorite candy is sour gummy worms.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
I
No,
don't,
that's not bad. That's wear that badge with honor.
yeah, I don't know why. And it like has all the dyes and like whatever and so much sugar, but like I cannot turn down a sour gummy worm.
Shout out
Exactly,
Red
yeah.
40.
Shout out Red 40. Damn straight. And on the topic of food, if your music project was a dish, what dish would it be and why?
Maybe like maybe like a steak.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because I don't know, it's like juicy in a way, and it's got a lot of like meat to it, if that makes sense.
Hell yeah.
I see the vision. I see
You
the
know what?
vision.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And for the last couple of questions, it's going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Something seafood, probably lobster, and probably like a margarita if I'm going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell? A
Hell
little
yeah.
party.
Yeah.
And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Ooh, I've been like really into Harry Potter
Uh-huh.
lately, so I don't know, probably, yeah, I'd probably live in like Harry Potter world.
Hell yeah. Do you know what house you are?
I am Ravenclaw.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
And I've asked the last question. Every single person that we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What is your favorite color?
Blue.
Specific shade of blue?
Anything like kind of medium to darker. Just like anything but like really light blue, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Hell yeah. So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Just thank you so much for having me and taking the time to talk about this EP.
Of course.
As an independent artist, it's like super meaningful to have people who support you. So yeah, I just really appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
No worries. Hell yeah.
Well, thank you. It's been Lauren Presley, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.